The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who's feeling a little hoarse. Welcome, Jacob.
Yeah, just a little bit. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who, he's gotta go fever. Welcome, Drew.
I don't have a good joke for this.
I got him.
But anyway, tonight we are reviewing a little film called The Road to El Dorado that did poorly in theaters when it came out.
It did.
But has gotten a cult following 20 years later.
Yes.
Because of memes.
Yes.
And neither one of us had watched it before this week.
No.
Somehow we both missed it.
We both missed it, and
it wasn't even on the schedule until about half a week and a half ago.
Yes.
Because I wrote down the dates wrong. So, yeah, tonight's going to be a fun night.
Yes, because I can't remember. Did you point it out, or did I point it out? You pointed it out. I forgot the date was there.
I was on our calendar,
yes,
trying to see when the next patron spot was.
Yes.
Which you can get for $10 if you want $10.
Please.
And to make sure we had the dates, and I got to looking through all the stuff and realized, there's a mighty big gap between Anastasia and their second patron thing, which is on May 3rd. May 3rd. I left out a week.
Yes.
Oh, crud.
So we had to pitch, and it's like, hey.
Jacob, we need to pick something here. We don't really have anything we can just move into the spot.
No.
Because the way our scheduling is going, because starting 2 weeks from now, our schedule is going to be wonky.
You're not kidding.
But until August.
Yes.
So, fair warning there. Between me going on a vacation and Jacob getting married and all the other stuff that pops in there.
Yes.
But we said, well, what movie have we not done that we need to do real quick?
Mm-hmm.
And we tried a couple different things. And then so you said Road to El Dorado. It's like, hey, no, that's a good one. Let's just go with that. I hadn't seen it. So that's what we're reviewing tonight.
Yep.
So, yeah. Shall we get into that spoiler-free review?
Yes.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
As stated earlier, this is my first viewing. Though I had seen commercials for it back in the day when I was in high school. Boy, that makes me feel old.
A little.
But I think I had seen one scene in here before, like elsewhere. Like it was on television, and I sat down to watch it and realized, I'm not at the beginning, and then went off and did something else.
Yes.
But that's about as far as that went. Otherwise, my only other knowledge of this prior to this viewing was the memes that are everywhere for this one. But yeah. I enjoyed the film for the most part. It's got some weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly dealing with the fact that this is a pre-Shrek DreamWorks film. And love it or hate it, Shrek is what gave DreamWorks their voice. But yeah, it's an okay film. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, again, like Drew, this was my first time watching this film, and I had seen trailers for it in 2000, and I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was a Disney film first, and I was like, oh, it's DreamWorks, this up-and-coming Disney studio. So never watched it. It came up with the last minute pitch to like, hey, we need another film, and I pitched Road to El Dorado. Never seen it, so I watched it last night, and it's
after I got his internet hooked back up.
Yes, thank you, appreciate that. It's a serviceable film. It's got its problems. It's a little bit dull story wise here and there, but we'll get there when we get there. Other than that, like it's an okay film. It's not terrible, but it's not one of these grand masterpieces. And like you said,
it's pre-Shrek.
It's pre-Shrek. It's DreamWorks building its way to where it's Disney in the 80s.
Pretty much.
Yes.
It's trying to be. Well, it's definitely trying to be Lion King in some ways.
Yes, it is.
Considering the composers for this one.
Composers, Elton John
and Tim Rice, who did that one.
Yeah.
It's got kind of the look to it. This came out in 2000, which puts it close to around the same time that Emperor's New Groove came out.
Yes.
So it's one of those weird films that happened to come out at the same time as another much more popular film.
Yeah.
That stole the spotlight from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I know it's a cult classic. I don't think we're going to be in the cult.
No.
So,
it's enjoyable. Do not get me wrong.
It's enjoyable. It's just, it's got some issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we just start sounding like we absolutely hated this film, why don't we jump into the spoiler-filled review?
Yes.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film The Road to El Dorado. Listener discretion is advised. Road to El Dorado was directed by Eric Bebo Bergeron, who also went on to direct Shark Tale. Mm-hmm. That cinematic classic. It was also directed by Don Paul, in which this is his only directing credit, though he did work on the animation department for many films.
Oh, okay.
And there's an uncredited director's credit, which explains a lot to me.
Yeah, that does.
Katzenberg.
Oh yeah, because Katzenberg was the producer,
and he also has an uncredited as a director, which means he probably what Bergeron and Paul probably already had done. He probably screwed up because he has that tendency.
Maybe.
Well, all the other stuff from Disney before this, a lot of it we could attribute to him.
That's true. That's true. I did watch a very interesting documentary over that whole feud with Katzenberg and Disney. It was really interesting. I can't remember the name of it, but I will, like, when I do find it, I'll let people know. It's like, hey, go watch the documentary. It's really good.
And it may put it in a different light than what I
exactly
remember. I just remember so many things when we were doing our research back in the day for other films. For the 80s and 90s era.
Oh, yeah. Just Katzenberg!
Katzenberg!
Need to make that a shirt.
Yeah. It was written by Ted Elliott, Terry Rossio, Carrie Kirkpatrick, and Philip Lazebnik. Getting into the cast, we've got Kevin Kline playing Tulio.
Yeah.
And in the movie Wild Wild West...
Wicked wow!
Starring Will Smith, not the television show from the 60s? 70s? I don't remember.
70s, I think.
He played President Grant.
Yes.
Kenneth Branagh.
Whoa, wait, what?
President Grant.
No, he didn't play President Grant.
Yes, he did. According to IMDb.
Kevin Kline?
Yes.
Kevin Kline played,
Going to IMDb to prove my point.
Okay, then. It was like Kevin Kline was actually one of the main actors in the movie.
Well, maybe he had two roles.
Maybe.
I've not watched Wild Wild West. I could have been.
Wow,
wrong.
okay.
So,
You're missing out, just saying.
Artemis Gordon, was that a main character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My apologies.
There we go.
I thought, president. He was the president. Okay.
He pretended to be the president.
I didn't even watch the TV series, so I don't know the name.
That is fair. That is fair. It is a very cheesy classic that needs to be watched by everybody just to see how cheesy,
fair enough,
good, and somewhat bad it is.
Kenneth Branagh was the voice of Miguel, and he played Hercule Poirot in the most recent Poirot trilogy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Including Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, and A Haunting in Venice.
I was completely unaware that was the same Kenneth Branagh. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Haunting in Venice yet?
No, I haven't.
You need to.
Oh, okay.
That movie, everyone should watch that one if you like good whodunits.
Yeah.
It's actually the only real whodunit of the three.
Really?
But the way they shot it, you're actually questioning if the haunting is real.
Oh, okay.
Or real in context. Because they shot it like a horror film. Anyway.
Oh, here's an interesting fact. They were both in Wild Wild West.
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Yeah.
Because I think there's somebody else who's connected to Wild Wild West from this. I can't remember who it was now. Anyway, Rosie Perez played Chell. And in the movie White Men Can't Jump, she played Gloria Clemente.
Ah.
Armand Asante was the voice of Tetzel Khan. And in Judge Dredd, the one starring Sylvester Stallone...
Oh, I am the law!
He played Rico.
Oh, he played Rico. That's right. Oh, my gosh. Keep the stupid helmet on. That's what I'm saying.
Edward James Olmos played the tribal chief in this. And he was Admiral Adama in the reboot version of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay.
Jim Cummings
Yes, Jim Cummings.
was the voice of Cortez. And in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl video game series,
Okay.
he's the voice of Shredder.
Oh, okay.
I'd look to see if maybe he voiced Shredder in some of the Nickelodeon ones, because I assume you'd use the same voice cast.
Sometimes.
Apparently not. So that's a shame. But anyway, Frank Welker. Guess who he played?
Frank Welker, the horse.
Yeah, he played Altivo.
El Tivo.
And in Futurama, he played Nibbler. You don't know Futurama, do you?
No, I don't.
Nibbler is...
Isn't he the little guy?
Yes.
Okay.
He's technically Leela's pet, except he's actually a intergalactic super species that is the entire reason Fry got sent into the future.
Okay. Those kind of shows are not really my thing. It's just
I
more
know,
like,
but it's one of the few. Normally in comedies, when they try to play with the continuity and such, they don't think to animate things ahead of time.
Yes.
And they're not going to reveal it. You can see Nibbler's shadow on the wall in the pilot episode.
oh my gosh.
Right before Fry gets trapped in the cooling unit.
Of course.
Cryogenic
Of
freeze
course, it's
unit.
good. It's called good storytelling.
Yeah, but we didn't meet Nibbler for like another half a season.
Oh, okay.
So, Kingdom Hearts connections. How many do we have?
Kingdom Hearts connections. 5.
No.
Higher or lower?
Lower.
Lower. So 3.
Higher.
4.
4.
Okay.
Jim Cummings.
Of course.
Cortez in this movie. He also played Pete, Captain Justice, Captain Dark, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Ed, the Cheshire Cat, and Julius. Frank Welker, voice of Altivo. He also played Experiment 221 Sparky in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Strange how that's the only thing in Kingdom Hearts he has so far.
That is weird because it's Jim Cummings.
Yeah. Aaron Span was actually additional crew in this.
Really?
Yes. But also was the voice of Joshua in Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance. A character that did not, while not a Disney character, and did not originate from a Final Fantasy game. Came from the series The World Ends With You.
Really?
Yeah, another Tetsuya Nomura joint. Anyway, Michelle Ruff. Additional voices in both. So what do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So, info and stuff. Look at my notes. Well, I sound like I'm... My voice that sounds like this. Anyways, perfect for announcing things. All right, so info and stuff. You can watch it on Amazon Video for $3.79 at the current rate.
Which is where we both watched it.
Yes.
Because it's not streaming in any service for some reason.
No, not really. IMDb has a 6.9 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is a 66% score. Production was, of course, DreamWorks Animation and distributed by DreamWorks Pictures. Runtime was 89 minutes. Release date was March 31st, 2000 here in the United States. Let's go to the box office. All right, had an estimated budget of $95 million. That's a pretty good rate. Let's just be that. All right. Let's see. Its opening weekend was on April 2nd, 2000, and it grossed $12.8 million. And according to, I think it's Wikipedia, I believe.
So take with a grain of salt.
Yes. It grossed 12.9 on its $12.9 million opening weekend, ranking second behind Aaron Brockovich on its third week. All right, so its U.S. gross was $50.8 million, and its international gross was $78.4 million. So I'm kind of borrowing from another show, aka I was borrowing from another show, aka Retro Rewind.
Hi, Roy.
Hi, Roy. Actually, from PaulGPowers.com. All right, so I wanted to add in the yearly ranking. This is in the year 2000. Where in the ranking of the top 50 films of the year 2000, where did The Road to El Dorado fall?
Considering that I know it did not do well with the critics. And kind of flopped. I'm guessing 45.
Oh, you are so close. So close. No, it's 45. 44, I'm sorry. 45.
It's 45. That's what I said, 45.
Yeah, oh my gosh, you hit it just, it's like you said 40. It's like, oh, come on, say it. It's 45. Okay. Yeah, it was 45. 45 for the year 2000. So, yeah, that, hold on. Let's go into home release. The Road to El Dorado was released on DVD and VHS in the year 2000 on December 12th. Because in the year 2000, we still released VHSs. There was also an event held in El Dorado, Kansas, in which a parade was held on the streets and painted gold to celebrate the film's home release. The DVD was released included audio commentary, behind the scenes featurettes, music video of Someday Out of the Blue, production notes, interactive games, trailers, and TV spots. On July 2024, the film distribution rights were purchased by DreamWorks Animation from Paramount Pictures, owner of the pre-2011 DreamWorks Pictures catalog, and transferred to 20th Century Fox before reverting to Universal Pictures in 2018. Because of this, Universal Pictures Home Entertainment released the film on Blu-ray on January 22nd, 2019. Now, streaming. This film began streaming on November 25th, 2015. And you can most find it most places, but primarily on Amazon Prime.
Right.
All right, there was no information on a sequel of any type, because this movie did not do well internationally or domestically. So that's all I have for it, info and stuff.
Let's get into the summary then.
Yes.
In 1519 Spain, con artists Miguel and Tulio win a map to the legendary city of gold, El Dorado.
Without their loaded dice.
In a rigged dice gamble, though they ironically win the map fairly, after Tulio was given normal dice from one of the opponents.
Yes.
After their con is exposed, the two evade the guards and accidentally stow away on one of the ships to be led by the conquistador Hernando Cortez? Not Hernan?
No, it's not Hernan.
They put here Hernan.
No, it's not Hernan. Oh, come on. I might be wrong, but
I'm just going to say Cortez.
Yeah, it's Cortez.
For the New World. At sea, they are caught and imprisoned and are condemned to slavery in Cuba. but break free and steal a rowboat with the help of Cortez's mistreated horse, Altivo. Their boat reaches land, somewhere in Central or South America, where Miguel begins to recognize landmarks from the map, leading them to a totem marker near a waterfall that Tulio believes is a dead end. As they prepare to leave, they encounter a native woman, Chell, being chased by guards. When the guards see Tulio and Miguel riding Altivo as depicted on the totem, they escort them and Chell to a secret entrance behind the falls into El Dorado. They are brought to the city's elders, kind-hearted Chief Tanabak and wicked High Priest Tetzalcan. The pair are mistaken for gods when a volcano coincidentally erupts but simultaneously stops during an argument between them, and they are given luxurious quarters. Along with the charge of Chell, she discovers that the two are conning her people but promises to remain quiet if they take her with them when they leave the city. The two are showered with gifts of gold from Tanabak, but disapprove of Tetzalcan attempting to sacrifice a civilian at the god's ritual. Meanwhile, Cortez and his men reach land. Tulio and Miguel instruct Tanabak to build them a boat so they can leave the city with all the gifts they have been given, under the ruse that they are needed back in the other world. Chell gets romantically close to Tulio, while Miguel explores the city, coming to appreciate the peaceful life embraced by the citizens. When Tetzalcan sees Miguel playing a ball game with children, he insists the gods demonstrate their powers against the city's best players. Tulio and Miguel are outmatched, but Chell replaces the ball with an armadillo, allowing them to win. Miguel spares the ritual of sacrificing the losing team and berates Tetzalcan to the crowd's approval and earning Tanabak's respect. Tetzalcan notices Miguel received a cut during the game and realizes the pair are not gods, since gods do not bleed. Hence the reason for the sacrifices. Afterwards, Miguel, who has by then reconsidered leaving the city, overhears Tulio telling Chell that he would like her to come with them to Spain, before adding he would like her to come with specifically him and to forget Miguel, straining the relationship between the two. At a party being thrown for them, Miguel and Tulio begin to argue about Tulio and Chell's conversation and Miguel's desire to stay when Tetzalcan conjures a giant stone jaguar to chase them throughout the city.
Yes.
Tulio and Miguel manage to outwit the jaguar, causing it and Tetzalcan to fall into a giant whirlpool, though thought by the natives to be the entrance to Zabalba, the spirit world. Tetzalcan then surfaces in the jungle where he encounters Cortez and his men. Believing Cortez to be the real god, Tetzalcan offers to lead him to El Dorado. Miguel decides to stay in the city while Tulio and Chell board the completed boat before they see smoke on the horizon and realize Cortez is approaching. Suspecting the city will be destroyed if Cortez discovers it, Tulio suggests using the boat to ram the rock pillars under the waterfall and block the main entrance to the city, despite knowing that they will lose the gold in the process and the warriors won't last against them. The plan succeeds when the citizens pulling over a statue in the boat's wake to give it enough speed, as the statue starts to fall too quickly. Tulio has difficulty in preparing the boat's sail. Forfeiting his chance to stay in the city, Miguel and Altivo jump into the boat and unfurl the sails, assuring the boat clears the statue in time. The group successfully crashes against the pillars, causing a cave-in while losing all their gifts in the process. They hide near the totem just as Cortez's men and Tetzalcan arrive. When they find the entrance blocked, Cortez brands Tetzalcan a liar and leaves, taking him as a slave. Tulio and Miguel, though disappointed they lost the gold, unaware that Altivo still wears the golden horseshoes with which he was outfitted in El Dorado, saving the best for last. Knowing that El Dorado is forever safe, they appreciate the thrill of their adventure and head in a different direction for a new adventure with Chell.
Yes.
Getting into the trivia. A series of sequels featuring Miguel, Tulio, Chell, Altivo, and even the armadillo going after other legends about gold was planned, similar to what they would do with Shrek.
Huh. I wasn't aware of that.
However, following the disappointing box office results,
Yes.
all of these films were immediately canceled. Tetzalcan's sacred book contains a picture of a man fishing from the moon, a take on DreamWorks' logo.
Yes.
This is the first DreamWorks animation movie not to earn a profit at the box office.
Wow.
The story is actually inspired by Rudyard Kipling's The Man Who Would Be King, featuring conmen who try to trick the natives of an isolated city in Kafiristan with disastrous results. This movie shares several attributes to its namesake, the road comedies made famous by Bob Hope and Bing Crosby during the 1940s. This helps explain the anachronisms such as the shared language, pop culture references, and lack of historical accuracy.
Very true.
In homage to the veteran comedians, during the song It Is Tough to Be a God, Tulio and Miguel look into a rippling bowl of liquid at one point. The reflection of Miguel briefly takes on the pronounced tears of Bing Crosby, while the reflection of Tulio morphs into the distinctive profile of Bob Hope.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Compared to everyone else in this animated film, Tetzel Khan has his teeth individually carved out instead of just a white line. This was intended to make him look more lifelike and thus more intimidating.
Yes.
The name of the Spanish general in the movie is Cortez. However, in real life, the man who tried to find El Dorado was Gonzalo Pizarro.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the horse Altivo is generally interpreted as proud or haughty in modern Spanish. However, in older, more traditional usages, it means high or elevated, possibly a reference to the hero's elevated state to supposed godhood. In late 1996, Tim Rice and Elton John were asked to compose 7 songs, which they immediately worked on. In February 1999, before the release of Elton John and Tim Rice's Ada, it was announced that 10 songs had been composed for El Dorado. It was also announced that the release date had been pushed to March 2000. Lastly, do you know what the words El Dorado actually mean in Spanish? They're not they're a Spanish phrase, not some native phrase.
Yeah, because you always think it's like City of Gold, but it doesn't mean that.
No, it just means the golden.
The golden.
Because
okay.
it's literally looking for the golden city.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's probably more like it's probably more written like El Dorado City.
Yeah.
In Spanish, I don't know what the Spanish word for city is. My apologies. So yeah, the golden city.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your first like for this film?
My first like to this very unique film would actually be the dynamic of comedic chemistry between Miguel and Tulio. I knew that. Yeah, because the two actors, Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh, be like just they just have this amazing chemistry, just playing off each other. Be like the script kind of plays into their dynamic, and definitely when you first meet them, they're in this rigged game, and it's just how they're the way the characters are written, the way the actors kind of play off of each other, and you can tell they're having a good time with this role.
Yeah, and
this was in the 2000, so yeah, they've been in the studio together, and so I think that would have been a very interesting glimpse into this film to see those two actors actually playing off each other, and like how many ad-libs were they doing and what got in and what didn't. But overall, I thought the performance of these two characters along with the voice actors was very dynamic and very funny and very humorous, and showed the camaraderie between the two characters. So yeah, our two mains and their voice actors.
My first like for this actually is the animation. Admittedly, DreamWorks is not exactly known for 2D animation because, like we said earlier, DreamWorks really kind of broke out during the 3D CG era of animation. So, and this is only the second 2D film of theirs we've actually reviewed, with the other one being
Prince of Egypt. Yes.
And they actually had skill when it came to animation at this time. It's just, for whatever reason, like the DreamWorks 2D films never really took off. For whatever reason.
Yeah.
But the animation here is very good. I mean, they are still very much trying to be Disney instead of just being their own thing.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And I'll get sure when you get done with yours.
Yeah. But I mean, the animation is very well done. The magical effects that Tetzel Khan pulls off actually look very good. The 3D that's used in here is, because there are some 3D elements at some points, actually blends very well. The only reason I know they're 3D is because I know that's the only way that could have been done. So yeah, the animation in this is actually, I thought, was done very well.
Okay. So kind of playing into yours, I'm going to go jump right in my 2 because I had animation in my 3, so I'm going to just push it right here to continue the conversation. The animation is done very well because it's DreamWorks. DreamWorks is the brainchild or the love child of Katzenberg and Steven Spielberg, and wanting to create competition for Disney, and Katzenberg's desire to get back at the man of Disney. But the animation is very well done. It's very well executed, and it's got its own style, so it's not completely mimicking Disney.
Yeah.
But it has such a familiarity to it that maybe someone might confuse it for a Disney film, but it still has its own identity as an animation itself. Yeah, animation is beautiful. Like it's not Disney quality, but
there's some crunchy bits.
There's crunchy bits.
But
like
it's still done very well.
Yeah, it's done very well, and it's got a great execution, but it's not exactly Disney at this time. Well, at this point, Disney was doing 3D.
Disney had started doing 3D. Because I know this is around the time Dinosaur came out.
Yeah,
this is also around the time Lilo and Stitch and Emperor's New Groove.
That is true.
And so many other of the last good 2D Disney films.
The last remnants. That would be about 2003, 2004.
It's not till Chicken Little that they really fully bought into 3D.
Right.
I can't remember what year that was.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Chicken Little.
I haven't either. I just know that's the tipping point where they made the full transition.
Right. But yeah, animation's done excellently. It's done very well. Because we have seen some films that were animation so poorly.
Oh, yes.
And this is, DreamWorks. This is early DreamWorks. And their level of arts, artisans, animation, artists, the whole enchilada is done very well for what they're doing. So yes, animation.
My second like for this film is the writing, actually. You mentioned it earlier with the comedy between the camaraderie between Tulio and Miguel. There's a reason why those are the primary memes that have made it out there.
Yeah.
But there's rivalries all throughout this film because you've also got Tetsuo Khan and the Chief.
Yes.
They're back and forth, and they do a pretty decent job of hiding what's going on from us, and as they're hiding it from Miguel and Tulio.
I would agree.
Once you're in the city.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. This is going to be a bit backhanded. It's just like, okay, we know how these things worked, and granted, kids may not have. At the same time, I do have to question, you're gonna bring up the sacrifices in a kid's film.
Yeah, that's bold.
I'm not saying, and granted, they don't show anything other than different people right before the execute their sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, you're gonna have to give some better explanation as to why this is doing, and not just murder. And granted, it is making Tetsuo Khan just look evil for evil's sake, which I appreciate, but I don't know. We'll get into more of that later. It's not the writing is pretty much, I think, serviceable. It's done very well, but yeah, the writing is good. Story, not so much. I guess is what I'm trying to get at. I know that kind of sounds weird, but anyway, what's your third like?
My third like would be the soundtrack, actually, because the soundtrack itself is done tremendously well. The soundtrack is done very well with Hans Zimmer and John Powell.
Yeah,
because these are two very well known, even today. Like these are very
also worked on Lion King.
They also worked on Lion King.
So that's 4 songwriters who worked on Lion King.
Yes. So the soundtrack, I'd be like, I found myself more often not listening to the soundtrack or the background, the music, the accompaniment to the animation more often than not throughout the film. And I was like, wow, this is done very well. Like, it's, of course, it'd be like it's Zimmerman and Powell. Powell? Was it right? Powell.
John Powell.
Yeah, John Powell. But it's got a good soundtrack. It'd be like maybe the Elton John and Tim Rice version, maybe not so much. But I enjoyed the.
You enjoy the score.
Yes, I enjoyed
not
more
necessarily the song.
Yes, I enjoyed more the score of this movie rather than the musical aspects of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the score is good. It'd be like it's done very well. It's done very. It has this level of professionals, obviously, with the composers and writers. I'm a music guy, so if I use the wrong terms, I apologize. But I like it's done very well. It's a very lovely score to listen to. I probably need to go and look it up on Apple Music and find it for myself,
right,
if it's there at all. You never know. But yeah, the score is done very well. I like the score. It's pleasant to listen to. It's not something that is going to jump out at you, but if you're paying attention to it, it's just like, okay, this is nice, because it has a lot of the more like cultural, musical. There again, I'm probably using the wrong words, but using what the culture would have used in it, along with more modern 2000 musically accompaniment. Saying that right? Close enough. But yeah, the score is done very well.
My third like, and if you can't tell, I'm kind of like having a hard time. It's not that I hate the film. It's just, it's an okay film. Yeah, I actually think I will go with Tetzel Khan as the villain.
Okay, I get that.
He is evil for evil's sake. We don't get a lot of those. There's no redeeming this guy. And unlike most Disney villains, he doesn't get killed at the end.
Yeah.
But he may have got a fate worse than death. You do have to feel sorry for this guy, because he sees two sets of foreigners as gods, and he's wrong both times.
Yes.
So... and he really did kind of do it to himself in so many ways. Because he so wanted the Year of the Jaguar to start.
Oh, yeah.
But Tetzel Khan, he's got a mix of that Jafar, a bit of Jafar in him.
Yeah.
But with, I would say it's a mix of Jafar with the Judge Frollo.
Yeah.
Mix of Jafar and Frollo, kind of. It works actually fairly well. Granted, he doesn't get a villain song, which is
no, he doesn't.
Disappointing, but it's still a half decent performance.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't remember the guy's name who played Tetzel Khan. Get up here. By Armand Asante.
Yeah,
he does a very good job with it, and the character. And it's just nice to have a evil for evil's sake villain.
Yeah.
I'm going with Tetzel Khan as my third like.
Okay, so I'll jump off your Tetzel Khan enjoyment for your third, and it's just like the way they use expressionism with his character, and like anytime the character was talking, it was at a certain different angle. You had this because the way they designed his forehead and the whole bit where it had this unique arch, and it was just like his makeup, for the lack of word. His design is done very well. Be like he is very much the like, once you see him, like, okay, here's our bad guy. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
like the minute you see him, you're like, okay, yeah, this is the bad guy.
He'd be like, oh yeah, he's the high priest. Yeah, he's the bad guy. Mm-hmm. It's always the high priest in some capacity. Have you read the Bible?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I love his design. They're always using unique angles when it comes to Tetsuka. Every single time, be like using like this shot, this shot, and this shot. Be like, it's okay. That's because it was the use of animation, the use of angles with him, definitely with his very big nose, and it was a nice perspective of like every time he was in frame, they tried to make his character look menacing in some capacity. And he wasn't one of these like chuckling, like you said.
He wasn't a mustache twirling.
No, he wasn't a mustache.
Still just an evil for evil villain.
Yeah. He didn't have a grand plot or anything. Like he wanted the year of the Jaguar to come around.
He wasn't trying to do for the best for his people. He was trying to do the best for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't get a lot of that anymore, unfortunately.
That is true.
We try to put too much gray in our villains.
That is true.
Which, admittedly, this is from a time period where we were maybe a little too black and white with our villains. So
that is true. That is true. So yeah, be like, I agree. Tetsuka is a very interesting, not forgettable character, but it's an interesting approach to a character who is not the mustache twirling, I'm going to take over the world kind of character. Interesting villain.
Fair enough.
All right.
So dislikes.
Yes.
What's your first dislike for this film? Wait.
Yes, you.
You started off, so it's. But I gave my third dislike.
Yes.
My third like.
Yes.
How did we get off? Did you give?
Yes, I gave my third.
But I'm confused now because you started it off.
Yes.
Then I went.
Yes.
I think you may have thrown in a fourth somehow. I don't know how, and I'm not going to fight you over it.
Right.
I'm just confused how we ended on you and then came back to you for dislike. Sorry. Threw me.
It's all good.
What's your first dislike, though?
My first dislike is the story is a little bland. It's a little bland. It's like a like eating a peanut butter sandwich, but the peanut butter and the bread is kind of bland. It's like, okay, I'm eating a bland sandwich. This is how this story is, because it's almost paint by numbers. It's a paint by numbers kind of story. It's nothing unique, and it's a story that has been told 1,000 times with 1,000 times with 1,000 pens.
And it's not even really being told that interestingly.
No, it's not. But I mean, like I can see, because obviously the old story. There's only what 6 stories. 6 stories.
A couple more than that. I can't remember the number.
Yeah, 6 or 8 stories that are just generally reused over and over again, and the story isn't any different. There's nothing real. They don't change the game. They don't try to throw in something different. It's got a very generic story, generic plot, and yeah, it's kind of it's a bland story. But like, it's a fun movie, but the plot's just kind of okay. We see this coming. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, okay. It's very paint by numbers, very predictable. Now, granted, if you're a young kid watching this, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But if you're someone like us who's been doing it for years,
who grew up during the Disney Renaissance.
Yeah, grew up during the Renaissance, and like being reviewers for 5 years, like you just see everything coming a mile away. So it's serviceable, but it's bland.
Yeah.
What is your first dislike?
They're still in, quote unquote, the new world at the end of this, and they're acting like, where are they going? That's my question. Where on earth are they going at the end of this film?
Yeah, that's true.
They are still stuck in the new world. There was no getting back to Spain,
right?
Like they wanted to. Granted, they wouldn't be going back with much because, I mean, they only have 4 horseshoes worth of gold.
Right.
Which is not going to get them a lot of money. But, and I get that Chell really didn't care if they went to Spain or not. She just wanted to get out of the city.
Yeah.
But, where are they going? This movie just like, okay, we saved El Dorado. Cortez is taking the other guy into custody and walking off. And we're going somewhere else in the middle of a forest with no clear direction and no map and no reason to go anywhere.
Yeah. It's kind of wondering.
Where are they going?
Well, if memory serves correctly, because I watched it last night, there's more like because I think it's Child that says, and it's like yeah, because it's adventure. Let's just go where the wind takes us.
Right, but and granted, I don't want sequel baiting.
Right,
but at the same time, it's like you can have Child say, I heard about there's a legend of a story, off west of here, off in the Amazon rainforest, or not, they wouldn't call it the Amazon rainforest. Well, they might because of the way they use anachronisms in this. But it's like you could say, "Hey, we're heading this direction." Just say, "Oh, we're going on another adventure to go look for this treasure."
Yeah,
especially since they were planning on having sequels to this, making it a franchise. Honestly, this is a way. This would have been an easy jumping off point for a set of adventures happening in quote unquote the new world.
Right.
But you gave me no reason to think they were going to do anything but remain lost in what I'm assuming is the South American countryside.
Yes.
So yeah, I have no idea where they're going at the end of this, and I'm wondering why this should make me want to come back.
Yeah, that's true.
For a sequel, because honestly, it's like, well, because the entire point of these two characters is they're con men trying to find riches.
Yeah, get rich.
They don't really care about the adventure. They'll take the adventure.
Yeah,
they do enjoy the adventure, but they have a motivation. That is, they need to make riches so they can, have all, they can go back elsewhere. They're treasure hunters, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
If you're not going to make them con men anymore, they need to grow into treasure hunters.
Yeah.
And you gave me no treasure for them to hunt, even if you weren't going to, you hadn't made the decision yet. This time it's like, hey, I heard about this story north of here. We should go check that out. And that would have fixed that for me, I think. I don't need to know any. You can say, oh, we'll go where the wind is taking us.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's like, and as far as I know now, you're lost in the wilderness.
Yes.
And unlike the Israelites, you don't have God to bring you back.
That is true. And also, I want to bring up the point where it's okay. Like you brought the idea of Child just being like, kind of giving them this. It's like, oh, there's something. But I understand. Be like, it's like
I'm only thinking Chell could do it because I could see her
because she would know
from the area.
Yeah.
I could see her over the years being interested in the outside world and
she wants to escape
stories of, the outside world. So I assume, she's going to have to know something.
Yeah.
I understand why Tulio and Miguel wouldn't know. They're just off the boat from Spain.
Right.
So
I agree. There's also a little bit of the kind of going back to my first one, this bland story. It's almost too cookie cutter, just the way everything kind of falls into place. It's not. The map leads them exactly where they go, except they run into the wall, and it's like, oh, okay. You see where it's going to go because the light comes down and be like, it's made of gold. Yeah. Again, kind of a cookie cutter story, and the end of it kind of leaves you up in the air. It's just like, because they're gonna be. I totally, and Chell would probably know where everything else is, because her entire beat is to get out of El Dorado. Yeah. And now they're just wandering aimlessly through Central America, of all we know, or South America. Yeah. Who knows? But probably more like,
I'm thinking they're in South America because it just feels like they're in the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like it has this very. The conclusion is, okay, our characters escape. They give up all the riches, but then they're just wandering aimlessly, and there's still Cortez there. Yeah, like he's not gonna go away. So,
and obviously he would be the recurring villain in like a TV show or something. Yeah. If this were the pilot for a show, I kind of could accept this. Yeah. But it's not.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Never planned to be the pilot for a television show.
It's like, the two characters have kind of a redemption arc at the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. But then you have this nugget that is left hanging. Yeah. For the lack of a word. Be like gold nugget that is like, okay, next adventure. And they're like, oh, we're just going to wander around. Nothing's going to get mauled by jaguars.
You did nothing to get us excited for the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, granted, you weren't going to make anyway because the rest of the movie is so bland.
Exactly.
people weren't going to care as much. But you don't know that at that time, so something.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Like even the best movies or even the worst movies are going to try to tease you up with something.
Yeah.
Let's throw this line out of another adventure and see if it works. But they didn't. It's like, oh, we're just going to wander, the Amazon or wherever they are in Central or South America. And it's just like, okay, where are they going?
Yeah.
Adventure awaits. Right in the hands of a jaguar. Or Cortez. Or somebody else. Maybe another native tribe might come and get them.
They got eaten by El Chupacabra.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
Was that your second?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I was just bouncing off yours. My second dislike.
I wanted to make sure before I just started off on my next one.
No. You're good. So mine is a little more. I don't want to say controversial. It was probably controversial when it happened. So, do you remember the scene where I think it's Miguel. Miguel is like he's exploring the city and getting to know people, and then it cuts back to I want to say Turo, but it's not Turo. Tulio. I'm close. Tulio. And Chell in that one scene where it pops up and they both pop up from below the frame. I'm like, what in the world were you two doing?
Oh, you know what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. We know exactly what they're doing, but I'm like, really?
They were romantic.
Yeah, they were.
And that is admittedly something Disney at that time would not have done.
No.
DreamWorks is already trying to stretch what they can do.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I'm just thinking like, wow, you went there. It's like, obviously you can't be like, they became one spirit. Let's say that in more of a biblical term.
They got to know each other.
Got to know each other very well. But I was like, whoa, okay, they did that scene. They did that. Okay. He's like, it's like that. I wasn't uncomfortable with the scene, but it was like, if I had a kid and the kid was maybe like 10 years old, like 10, 11 years old, be like, guarantee, be like, hey, what were they doing? It's like, do we really need to have this conversation now?
Tulio dropped something and she was helping him look for it.
Yeah, exactly. Wink, nudge, nudge. Exactly. But it was like, okay, this was a little bit of a, I understand you're trying to push the boundaries with animation. You're trying to do something a little different than Disney. Maybe not imply something like that than having to parents to, bring up a subject maybe they weren't prepared for.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it was like, it's oh my gosh, they would do that. But it's animation. It's like, you're trying to be bold and maybe a little too bold in that scene. So yeah, the scene between these two characters was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was shocked, but I was like, oh, okay, you're trying to do something different. You're trying to surprise, because for the kid audience is, oh, okay. The adult audience is like, whoa, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, we know exactly what those two were doing. It's like, kids, don't ask questions.
Please don't.
Please don't. But, yeah, I was like, okay, that was a little weird. And understand, be like, they're getting, it's a nitpick. I'm not saying be like, oh my gosh, they're terrible. But it's like, yeah, it was an awkward scene. It was like, okay. So, yeah, that's my second dislike.
My second dislike for this is, like you said earlier, this is just so dull a film.
It is a dull film.
There's some writing here that shines here and there, but this movie is trying so hard to be Disney.
It is.
That ironically, the things that that Disney would excel at, they kind of miss, but because they're trying to be Disney but not be Disney. Like you said, we have that scene where, Tulio obviously just drops something.
Yes.
So that's something that at that time Disney would not have done. The closest we get is Nala's bedroom eyes.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding.
Yeah, while they're pushing the boundary there, they're kind of regressing in other places,
Yes.
like, storytelling and
Yes.
motivations for characters and just things that Disney at the time was just doing so much better in their stuff. They were pushing the envelope in appropriateness, but not really pushing it in terms of technical ability. There's
Agreed.
nothing in here that really makes me think that they were pushing, that they were trying to be better than Disney.
Yeah,
it really feels
agreed.
like they were trying to be Disney, but not be Disney.
Yeah, it was.
You should not be trying to be your competitor. You should be trying to do better than your competitor. And it doesn't really feel like that's what we got. We want to be Disney. Here's an idea. Anastasia last week.
Yes.
Also, it was basically Don Bluth's Disney princess film.
Yes.
And more to it than that. But
Yeah.
the thing is, that pushed what that meant.
Yeah.
It is still playing the Disney princess tropes, but it was trying to push the story. It was trying to tell a more realistic story. Granted, Disney did try to do that with Pocahontas a little bit, but at least Don Bluth tried to produce a film better than what Disney could produce.
Yes.
I don't really feel DreamWorks was trying.
They weren't trying to push the envelope.
Film than Disney.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think this is a problem DreamWorks has for a while, even when they start being successful with like Shrek and such. Because you look at some of the other stuff, it's so kind of It's like we're like Shark Tale, for instance. They brought that up earlier, or Madagascar. They're not really pushing what Disney or Pixar was doing. They're just like we're doing the same thing. Come. We're budget Disney. Don't be budget Disney.
Agreed.
Be full price DreamWorks.
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to put it than that.
Yeah.
No animation studio should be trying to be just like their competitor. They should be trying to do better.
Yeah.
And that's actually my biggest issue, I think, with this film is it's not trying to be better than Disney.
Yeah.
It's just trying to be Disney.
Agreed. Well, it's similar vein to what Illumination would do. Illumination,
Illumination had the same problem until recently.
Yeah, because Illumination would just put out very safe, very generic, fun films, but they're not trying to push the envelope.
They're not really competing.
No, they're not.
Just like, we're the same. Come watch our films. We've got the little yellow corn pops as characters. Come watch us. And you're like, oh, by the way, we got Mario. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe getting a Link movie later on. We'll see.
That would be interesting.
There's been rumors.
Does it have rumors enough to have pause and traction?
Eiji Aonuma, who is the director for the Legend of Zelda series,
Okay.
was seen at Universal Japan's theme park when they were touring the new upgrades for the Mario World.
Okay.
Like there may be more, or Super Nintendo World, I should say, which has been primarily Mario themed. And there's been some other stuff that's come up about that, but
it's like
connected.
or he just wanted to go see a really, really good Mario park.
And went with the Nintendo people going there. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, there are rumors.
Yeah.
We don't know if they got traction yet, but there are rumors. Anyway.
A little bit of rumor news there.
So yeah, that's my second dislike is they're not trying to be their own thing right now. And even when we get into things where they are starting that with Shrek, and there's still going to be places where they're being too safe. And this is just... I think this is like the kick in the pants that they may have needed. It's like, you can't just be Disney. You got to be better.
Yeah, agree. Do better.
Try to be better than your competitors. Always try to be better than your competitors. That goes for all you movie studios out there right now.
Yeah. So to quote a influencer, Joe Swell, do better.
So what's your third dislike?
My third dislike kind of, it ties in a little bit with my second dislike. Chal herself. Chal is this character who is drawn very well. Let's just, be there, right there, very.
She's an obvious love interest.
She's an obvious love interest.
Native.
Yeah, she's a native love interest for one of our characters, and she's supposed to be this guide and try to help them through this and this and this, but really doesn't really do much except she's a love interest to one of our characters.
Yeah,
she doesn't really do much. And now, granted, this wasn't the era of strong female empowerment. Well, it was for Disney, but
at the beginning, of that time period.
Yeah, because Disney was already doing that in the 90s.
They were starting to, because you had things like Pocahontas and even Jasmine to some degree in Aladdin.
Yeah, Jasmine, Little Mermaid, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but it was more of a. If I wish they could have done more with Belle, exactly. That's what I kept thinking. But there's a part of me really wish they would have used this character a bit more instead of just being a romantic interest and a quote unquote partner that is going to help them when she really does nothing except just winks and nods and says one thing to the king. And that's about it. She really doesn't do anything. She's a background character for the most part. Now, for those of our listeners or those who watch and say like, well, Chaw was this and this and this. I get it. Be like, there again, I don't have nostalgia for this film whatsoever. And
that's
watch
probably
it.
What's hurting this film for both of us the most is we have no nostalgia.
We have no nostalgia for this. And it came out, this movie came out in 2000 where I still had an interest in animation, but it was more like meh. I'd be like, I was more into anime at the time.
Yeah,
that was the.
I was the same.
Yeah, so there again, I have no nostalgia for this film, so I don't have a. It'll be like, well, this and this and this of the character and who she is and this. But to me, she's a very bland, generic character who all her role is. And I hate to say it, she's just a romantic interest character. She does nothing that is going to strike me as, ooh, I'm interested in this character. Or, ooh, she's another part of the con.
Yeah.
Trying to get the gold and leave El Dorado. Why in the world is she still there? Be like, is she stuck there? Because we get introduced to her. She's a thief. And
then she basically does nothing.
Yeah, she literally does her.
Well, I say she does nothing. That first interaction where they're being gods and they're going to sacrifice the guy. She is at least giving them some heads up.
Yeah, a little bit. That's about it. I wish the character was a little more interactive instead of just being this love interest to one of our characters, and had a little more. What's the word? Self-interest. A little more self-interest. Like, obviously, she wants to leave El Dorado. But that's about it. There's nothing to this character. And be like, she's a very well-designed character. And be like, she's very much like, ooh. Be like, hey, I want to be with this character. And be like, it's obviously romantic interest. Like, I keep repeating myself. But that's all she is for the most part. I'm sorry. That's all she is. And, it's like, come on, guys. Make our female character a little more interesting than just the quote-unquote love interest. So, yeah. Chaw is kind of a semi-forgettable character.
Yeah.
Be like, she's got a good design. Do not get me wrong, a wonderful design. I'll probably use that in the thumb art for this week's episode. With a certain spy who's trying not to pay attention to her.
Right.
I just find that kind of funny.
Okay. My third dislike for this film kind of related to yours.
Okay.
Chell is the only person who it's painfully obvious to that Miguel and Tulio are not gods.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the chief kind of knows.
The chief kind of...
Very sly about it.
Yeah.
But it took him a while, I think, to come to that realization because he's as much on the god train as everyone else is when they first show up into town.
Right.
Now, why does nobody else question, are these actually the gods?
Yeah.
I get why Tetsuo doesn't.
Yeah.
Because them being gods supports his claim.
Yeah.
Up until, they see him get cut.
Yeah.
Or he sees them get cut.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just me.
Okay.
Miguel and Tulio are not doing a good job of pretending to be gods.
Well, yeah, of course not.
That's the joke.
That's the whole stick to
That's
it.
the whole shtick. And it's like, there's nobody else questioning this.
Right.
These two random white dudes, or Spanish white dudes.
Spaniards.
Who are acting like normal people for the most part, treating you like human beings and not treating you like the way gods in that culture would be. Why is no one questioning this? It goes against everything they know, and I'm not saying they have to immediately not believe that they're gods.
Right.
I'm saying, why is no one saying, why do gods like? Why do you? We are not worthy to be to this. Why are we not getting anything like that? It's just like, oh no, the gods see me. I'm going to run away. Because Tetsukan says they're going to sacrifice, they're going to want sacrifices, despite the fact they stopped the sacrifices like multiple times throughout this film. Why is Chell the only one, Chell and the Chief, the only ones really that we see actually
Are clued in.
Figure out these are not gods?
Well,
Outside of, without needing physical evidence.
Right.
I mean, why does nobody else figure out these are just normal people who look different than us?
Well, I think it's more if you go back to more historical, you go back to the Spanish conquest of Central and South America, where the native population, saw these men, these pale white men riding on horses, and so these were symbolizing the gods.
I get that. Here's the thing, though.
And they
Chell, the Chief, and Tetsukan are not the only people who are dealing with them in the city,
because they're the main supporting characters,
and they're the main supporting characters. I get that, but why are no other servants? None of the other servants that we see up there making any connection. They're not hiding this at all in their room. And you're telling me no servant accidentally walked in on or overheard this?
I would agree if they would have played something more like that. Then. Because obviously, from our perspective, we know they're cons,
right?
But I think it would have been better if we.
And they're very good con men. I get that.
Yeah.
But they are missing one very crucial element in this con that is really hurting them, and that's the fact is they don't know their culture. They don't know half the things they should, and Shell's not telling them.
No, she's not being helpful.
Why does nobody else figure out? Oh, these people are not. They're acting like Chell actually thinks they are, and that they're all a bunch of idiots who only listen to what people tell them is right.
Well,
and I get that, but it's like, Chell could have used someone to come up and soon realize, okay, maybe there's other reasons why. I don't know. It's that serviceable story we talked about.
Yeah,
it's like it's not questioning. It's not being clever in its writing. There's things they could have done and to get us like, okay, yeah, we get half this. Realize, okay, you're not gods, but we need to play the game, and maybe that would get too many people against Tetsukan at an early stage. I don't know, but it just annoyed me that there's only two smart people who figured out they're not gods in the whole film until Tetsukan realizes it when he sees one bleed, because gods don't bleed apparently.
Right. Well, I would agree with you in an extent, but also like an historical fact, or like within even cultures and stuff, definitely cultures of that era, it was more like the high priests and the kings and the lords would say these men are gods, and be like, do not question them, do not come approach them, because otherwise you will die from their wrath. So, and then you would have characters just like the general populace, unlike Miguel, who later on goes on just has a grand time among the people. It's more these people have been subjugated to believe anything their leaders tell them, and so that's why they have this almost a reverent fear for them, even though they might see them as a normal person, but as their culture demands, these are gods. You have to respect them, even though they're not really gods.
I get that.
Yes.
The problem is they never come around to the idea when those two leave, everyone except for obviously what's her name?
Chaw.
Obviously Chaw, because she went with them. But even the chief was like, okay, yeah, they're not gods. No one else in that town is even thinking that, despite the fact they have been working with them and realize, okay, yeah, these may be good gods, at least for some of them, but some people should be going, oh, they're just good guys. I don't know if they're gods or not. There's never... I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, could we get, like, maybe not that they're not gods, but maybe we get a little less of the fear that seems to be prevalent throughout the whole film. Like, there's a little bit with Miguel gets a little bit of like
among the people
nice with him because he did go out and deal with them. But you know, once you realize one's friendly, the other one's probably friendly too, since they are friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like it feels like they could have done more with them pretending to be gods than they did. And to me, it's like, as little as they did with it, somebody else should have brought it up. And I'm sorry, the crowd never turns on Tetsuo Khan. Never.
Yeah.
He gets thrown out because
Miguel tells him.
Miguel's the one who gets him thrown into the whirlpool and he dies. Mm-hmm. But nobody, and everyone's happy to see him gone, but no one really turned on him.
No.
He never... no one ever turned on him, and to make his revenge bringing Cortez there actually feel like it really didn't have weight. Him finding Cortez, other than I found another Spanish man who kind of looks like a god. I'm going to assume he's a god. I'm not going to have learned from my past mistake that maybe these are just real people.
Yeah,
especially since he's.
Well,
they did so little with the whole gods thing that I don't even know why Tetsuo Khan is still believing that these white men are gods.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you,
especially since none of them saw them. I get why they thought Tulio and Miguel were, because they mimicked the pillar exactly.
Oh yeah.
So I get where that connection was. I don't know. It's just like they did so little with the concept.
Fair.
They might as well have just been kings. There was no... They didn't really play with the divinity aspect of it, I think, at all. Or them realizing, these guys aren't really gods.
Well, what else? I would go with
I think we are starting to talk in circles.
We are, in a way. I think with how they approach... But like, obviously, when they first get there and people believe they're gods, they'd be like, Tetsuo Khan believes they're gods, the king believes they're gods. And throughout the course of the film, we see all of our major support characters start to realize there's something up with these characters. They're not who we think they are, but like the king starts to get it a little faster. Right. Tetsuo Khan is more, he's
so there's physical evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's blind to it, because he really wants them to be gods, so that the century will turn. Mm-hmm. But and I know what you're saying. It's like, the main people, they probably would not even question it, because most of them probably aren't even dealing with the guys. They're just normal people going about their business. Oh, those are gods? Cool. I'm going to still continue playing ball with my buds until we got to fight them later, and then be honored that we're being sacrificed to them. Oh, we're not being sacrificed to because they don't want sacrifices? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's like, why is... It's just there's... Some of the extras, I'll use that term. Some of the extras who are closer, who they are dealing with on a regular basis. Granted, I get it, they're extras. You don't really get much time on them, but on what they actually think, I get that. I just want... I just wanted there to be more to it.
Fair. But like you want more of the...
I want them to actually do something with this concept, because they really do so very little with it. In my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what it comes down to, and that's why I say, why does nobody else figure it out? It's because they do so little with it. There's no proof that they're gods.
Yeah.
It's one instance where they happen to do something and the volcano appears to react to what they're doing. It's like, give me more of that, where it's like, Give me a point in time where they're trying. Well, maybe they decide, oh, we're not gods. You should be listening to us. And every time they go and try to do something reacts that makes it look like they're actually gods.
Oh, yeah.
Do something fun like that. Maybe even get to a point where it's like, maybe we are gods. Oh, and then you get your knees knocked out from under you.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
I see it. I see
got
it.
away with the con for the most part.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me. I wanted them to the con
people
to fail, but them still being such good guys that they don't care.
Okay.
And I never felt like we got that.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, moving on.
That was good.
Before we get into another circle.
Yeah, we'll get into a circle of just
Back and forth. Because I
Yes.
get what you're saying. It's just I wanted more than what we got.
fair. That is completely understandable.
Do you still have... No, mine was the last dislike.
Yes.
What are you rating this film?
I'm going to give it a solid 5. But like it's a serviceable film. It's not one of these films that, oh my gosh, I'm going to watch this again. I might try to download the original score if it's available, because most of the time these are not available for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a serviceable film. Like you said, it's kind of a run of the mill, paint by numbers kind of film. You can see things coming from a mile away. Kind of film. I get your point. I get your point of maybe the con being a little more that everybody picks up on it and everybody doesn't, and wanting more of these characters to be exposed for the frauds they are.
Yeah.
In a way, but I get it. I may slightly disagree with you here and there, but yeah, the movie is serviceable. The animation's serviceable. The plot again is dull, kind of boring, paint by numbers, and yeah, it's a 5 for me. What are you rating this movie?
I think I'm going to give it a 5 also.
Oh, okay.
It's a dull film. They don't do... They introduce a lot of cool concepts, but they don't do much with them.
Yes.
And for me, it comes down to the fact that the con artists, in my opinion, the con should have failed, not immediately, but around the time that Tetsuo Khan realized it, everybody else should have realized it too. And yet, in my opinion, it's like they wouldn't care. It's... That in my opinion, that's how this should have ended. It's like, okay, yeah, you're humans, but you still saved us, so it's not the will of the gods. It's just human ingenuity and this thought process that saved us from invasion. That's, I guess, what I kind of what I wanted. But it's such a paint by numbers story that was never the concept. The fact that we have 2 villains and one of the villains is barely in the film.
Yeah, agree.
In the form of Cortez, it's like. I just he was never a threat, and that's what it comes down to. Is this movie did not have many stakes.
Agreed.
And that's its biggest issue. So especially since they're got a con going where they're pretending to be gods, that should be the biggest stake, because that should mean if they catch you, you die.
Yeah,
you get sacrificed to the real gods, and.
Yeah, that would have been more.
Never comes up.
No, it doesn't. But like, it's brought up in the very beginning, but through illustration, but it's never really a looming threat.
Right, and that's my biggest issue with it, and that's why I'm giving it a 5. It's got great animation. The like you said, the score is good, but everything else is so middle of the road and not trying to be better than what they're copying.
Fair.
The style they're copying, and they're not trying to be them. And that's just why it comes down to being a 5. It's like it tried but failed miserably.
Okay.
But yet still succeeded in a way. And I get why, if you saw this as a kid, why you like this film. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't like this film. I understand why the memes exist. It's just without anything else, without the nostalgia to hold it up any higher.
Yeah.
Than where it can stand by itself, it just doesn't get very high for me. But it's not really badly made, so I'm giving it a 5.
Fair.
Next week,
yes,
we have our second patron pick.
Yay!
By Edwin Gonzalez.
Yeah, thank you.
And that movie is Fire Breather. It is a Cartoon Network straight to TV film about a superhero film that is actually, there's an Image comic, I believe, based on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, join us next week for that. We're going to do our intermission right quick. So, join us on the other side, and we'll be able to talk about what we've been watching, some news, and some Spy Family.
Yes.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out The Rushmore Show. The Rushmore Show is the place for ranking the ultimate top 4 in sports, video games, nostalgia, movies, and so much more. Each week, Andy and Kirk spark engaging discussions and friendly debates, making The Rushmore Show your compass in the realm of pop culture rankings. You can find more of them on their YouTube channel, The Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top 4 and nothing more. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and the Monster Island Film Vault. If you would like your name shouted out on the show, special art from Jacob, uncut episodes, and for a limited time, exclusive reviews of X-Men 97. You can join us at the $5 level on Patreon, and if you pay us an additional $5, so the $10 level, you can force us to review something within reason, much like Edwin Gonzalez did. And you'll note that, well, despite the fact that Edwin Gonzalez is no longer a patron, we are still doing the one he paid for. So, yeah. As long as you pay us $10, we'll do it eventually.
Exactly.
For 2 more spots. Anyway, join us. Yeah. So donate to us on Patreon if you wish to. So Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So I finished DuckTales, the reboot from 2017. It's really good. It's got a good first season. The second season's kind of a... it's good. Do not get me wrong. There are so many good episodes. They bring in Darkwing Duck. They bring in... like the rest of Disney Afternoon characters, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Gummy Bears is like, yeah, they use the potion. They use the potion to bounce, which I found very interesting. The first season's done very well. It's got a lot of these really, really good, nice little twists here and there. The second season's kind of like, okay, we're going this route.
Right.
The third season, it's like, okay, we have this big overarching mystery of what this, like, they're going on this, they got to find all these grails, and like the villain is the non-traditional villain, and we get this, big twist at the very end. I wish they would have just drugged that out a little bit more, but I was like, oh, okay. But I enjoy it, so go watch it on Disney Plus. Go get Show with the Love. There's one episode they tease something at the very end, and I'm sad they never bring it back up. So in season 2, so in DuckTales, the reboot series in 2017, Darkwing Duck is a show within the TV series, and Launchpad Quack apparently loves the show. So it's introduced in the first season, the second season.
He's in it.
Yeah, he's in it. And so in the second season, they properly bring in Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck is a TV show, and it is funny how they bring this in. And a character named by Jim Starling, voiced by Jim Cummings, as Darkwing Duck. And they are, because the show has been off the air for years, and that's all Launchpad knows how to talk about is a show. And apparently they are going to do a hard reboot with a movie without Jim Starling as Darkwing. And Jim Starling doesn't like this. He wants to be the man. He wants a resurgent in his career, and he kind of goes bonkers. And there is this, oh my gosh, I don't know why they left this fruit hanging. And let's just say Darkwing, the actor, becomes something else at the very end of the episode, and it's so well done, but they never bring it back up, like, ever. They have Jim Cummings the entire season. Why don't you do something with this character? Like, great introduction, and you're just left hanging, and it's like, they're doing this. They do nothing with the character. It's like, this could have been the greatest thing ever. You could have done 2 episodes of, this character versus this character, and oh my gosh, it would have been great. But they do nothing with it. And season 3 starts, and you have this entire build-up from season 2, and it's left. I'm like, okay, I understand you want to do another adventure, but you have to acknowledge what you did in the second season. And it's just kind of like, I still enjoy the series. Do not get me wrong. I think the second season does a great thing because it continues off what the first season does, but it does this very generic, we're going to do this. Oh my gosh. And then they suddenly switch to doing this. It's like really weird, but, it's good. Do not get me wrong. I mean, I love the, mergence of the different parts of the Disney universe. There's a great scene in the 3rd season, the final trilogy of episodes that end the series, that we have this character that is named I can't remember his name. He's the horse character, but they have this scene where apparently he's introduced in the first episode. He's a magical creature that gets his head knocked off and it's replaced by a statue of Scrooge McDuck. And he's a mascot character. He's an assistant. And then it's like they do this one thing and they bring in a certain voice actor who is known for, having a very deep voice. And, played a gargoyle once or twice. And they play off of that. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, it's so good. And the character says the line, it's like, I live again. It's so good. It is so freaking good. Can you tell I really enjoy this series? Yeah. I was slightly disappointed with some of it, but overall, I thought it was well done. And, I can't wait to review it.
Whenever we can get to it.
Whenever we get to it. Woo! Other than that, there again, I'm going to plug the YouTube channel Part-Time Drifter by Brian. Brian was on our episode of Akira. Am I right? No, Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
He was on Ghost in the Shell.
Roy and Paul were on Akira.
That's right. He started up another YouTube channel called Part-Time Drifter, where he is bought a van and living in a van, and he's going on adventures during the weekend. And he dropped his 2nd episode, and he's exploring Waco in this episode. So if you want to go give him some love and go subscribe to his episode, or no, whatever it's called, a YouTube channel called Part-Time Drifter. Go over there, check it out. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, plug for Part-Time Drifter on YouTube.
Okay.
So that is all for the most part, I walk to work now, and it's like you listen to different podcasts and like stuff I disagree with, but it's fun to listen to, and it's just like, but yeah. That is what I've been doing, minus having a head cold for most of the week. So what have you been watching, listening to, and most likely playing?
Well, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is mostly what I've been playing. I'm getting there.
Yes.
Do you believe I'm 60 hours into that game?
60 hours.
Yeah, and I'm not done. I've still got 3 or 4 chapters left. But I've also been doing as much side content as I possibly could.
Of course.
But I have watched a couple movies this week.
Oh, that's right.
First off, Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Yeah, how did that go?
It's a fun film. I actually do suggest it.
Okay.
It is definitely a sequel to Versus Kong, but they have done more with they focus more of the story on the kaiju than on the humans.
Okay.
Even though the humans are there, and they do actually do a pretty decent job too. But anyway, so there was that, and then I watched another movie.
Yes.
Like the next day. that is related to something else we're in the middle of reviewing right now.
Yeah.
I saw the Spy Family movie, Code White.
Wow.
That is such a fun movie. I don't want to spoil it because I'm 90% certain, since it's connected to a TAS that we're working on, we're going to review it at some point.
Yes.
But I will say, I did not expect to enjoy a film where there is a actor who is credited as the god of poo.
The god of...
And I am not explaining that.
Okay.
Let's just say Anya really should not have eaten that piece of that chocolate truffle.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
No.
Okay, it's not what I think
There
it
is not that. Not the...
good night. No, yeah.
It was not a laxative.
Oh, good night.
I'm just saying that got her into so much trouble.
Wow.
And the links they go to, so that's like, this is not canon, but we'll never have to refer to it ever again.
Okay, then.
It's canon, but not canon. It has that kind of a thing to it, but it is funny. There was a moment where I just busted out laughing like hard in it, that I think I was the only person in the theater who caught the joke.
Oh, gosh.
Because I'd seen the show so many times.
Right.
And then...
and read the manga?
And read the... Well, I need to catch up on the manga. But... there... Oh, man. I left that movie with a big smile on my face. It got there early and never left.
Nice.
It was that kind of a... It's just like watching the show. It's like... It's... You just are going to enjoy watching it.
Yes.
It's that...
I agree.
It's that good. So... also, I started this afternoon a TV show related to some movies we have reviewed, though we need to review the second one pretty soon. Knuckles.
That came out.
That came out today. All 6 episodes came out today.
Nice.
I got through a couple episodes. It feels, in a strange way, it is Sonic the Hedgehog 1, but with Knuckles.
Fair.
So far. So it's kind of fun so far.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into it, but into talking about it, but I did start that. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So, what do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, D-Lit. And going to the bit of news that Drew already mentioned it, that Spy Family or Spy X Family, Code White is now in theaters. Is it a limited run?
I don't know, because it's being released by Sony Pictures. So it's not a Fathom event.
Oh, okay. So it should be in theaters for the duration, I believe.
A couple weeks, I'm assuming.
A couple weeks. But yeah, that's on theaters. Obviously, Drew was gloating over it. And
I was a week late because it's been out for 2 weeks.
Wow. So
I didn't realize it.
Yeah. So yeah, that movie's out.
Or this is its second week, I should say.
Right. Now you've told me that this movie, like, if you haven't seen the entire series, you'll probably be a little lost. Or you won't know who was
Spy
like,
Family?
Yeah, Spy Family.
If you have finished season 1,
okay,
you are probably fine. It's not that it pulls from anything, and anything you really need to know for the story.
Okay.
It goes ahead and explains it to you.
Oh, okay.
But like, there are two. Well, one of the characters is Yuri. He shows up almost in a cameo like role in like 2 scenes.
Okay.
And then there's another character who shows up in the second half of season 1. I don't want to get into who she is, but
Okay.
had things worked out differently, she probably would have been assigned to Lloyd's wife's position.
Oh, okay.
To the position of being Lloyd's wife on the mission.
Right.
But it was but it did not work that way.
Got it.
Much to her chagrin. I'll just say Lloyd has a stalker. And a fangirl.
Okay. Gotcha.
And she shows up she actually has a semi-major role in the film. I say semi.
Okay.
Poor Frankie in this movie.
All right.
I'm not going to get into it, but if you do go watch it, there is an after credits scene involving Frankie.
Okay. I'm going to blow my nose. This is driving me nuts. Oh. Cow.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
5.
Yeah, 5. Now I can't see. Ow.
No, I don't know why that's still become a meme on ours. 'Cause every time he sneezes, I have to start counting.
Everybody starts counting. No,
Because you do sneeze a lot when you sneeze.
I do. So oddly enough, today, I'm sneezing my head out most of the day. I sneezed once, and that was it. I was like, what the snot is going on? Normally, I sneeze like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Right.
And most of them be like, I'm out of breath. My chest hurts. This is like uncanny. I sneeze once. What is wrong with me? Mm-hmm. But yeah. Ugh. I'm going to borrow a paper towel.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Because I like to breathe and my sinuses are draining. Or at least, let me rephrase that. Breathe properly.
Right.
Oh, so much better.
All right.
All right. So, yeah, I think that's...
Before you start, Sean, I'm not the one sneezing. He's Jacob.
and
But I appreciate your blessing, Sean.
Yeah, and I'm not, when I said cow, I kept thinking, like, okay, it's not the cow that Anya drew in Spy Family. Yeah.
But that's why I said moo.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
All right. So that's all I have for the news, unless you have something else.
I can't think of anything, so why don't we go ahead and jump into some Spy Family?
Yes.
James Bond Jr. Impossible. Call me big man if you wanna reach me. When you wanna face me, it's okay.
The man of Flintstone.
What an agent, what a squirrel. He's got the country in a whirl. What's his name? Shh, secret swirl.
Johnny Quest.
Anybody want a peanut?
Two more words about the Spy Family movie.
Okay.
Peanut butter pizza.
Peanut butter pizza?
Apparently Lloyd knows how to make this.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Wow.
Mission 9. Show off how in love you are.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Directed by Takashi Katagiri and written by Honoka Katao. Getting into the summary, after Yuri's visit, Lloyd begins to suspect Yor may not be who she claims. While Lloyd investigates, Yor struggles with questions of her own. This is the end of the secret police arc. By the way, there are no new cast members in this one.
Gotcha.
It adapts chapters 13 and 14 of the manga. When Anya briefly wakes up in the manga, she mutters if there is an atomic bomb in the manga before going back to sleep.
Yeah.
However, in the anime, Anya says, "Is it the end of the world?" The English dub brings back the bomb.
So I actually did that when I was like, it was the early 2000s. So I've said this before, but I'll say it again. So when the shuttle Challenger exploded, but over Texas,
which I slept through.
I don't know how you did. So I woke up and nothing hardly ever wakes me up. Like when I'm dead asleep, I was just boom, boom, boom. Woke me straight out of bed.
I suspect it did wake me up, but I was not awake enough to make a connection.
Yes. So I woke up, and the first thing I thought was like, okay, this is the end of the world, our shuttle blew up. Went back to bed, got up, asked my grandmother, who was living with us at the time, be like, do you want anything? She wanted donuts. I drove to town, get donuts, and sure enough, shuttle Challenger blew up, which is
Challenger or the
Columbia. It was Columbia. I'm sorry, because Challenger was in the 80s.
Yeah, I was like, it's
That's
Columbia.
Right. My mistake.
That blew up over us. So
yes, I was a teenager in the 80s and a child in the 80s, and a baby in the 80s. Who would go figure?
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Exactly.
3 of the pictures of Yor inside Yuri's locker feature her in 3 of the outfits seen in Volume 3, called Yor's 1 Week Coordinate bonus. It's a bonus page. Specifically, days 2, 3, and 6. Continuing from last episode's change, the secret police card that Twilight shows Yor under disguise does not have the initials of the secret security service on it, only the emblem. And in the anime, Frankie asks Lloyd why he called him to interrogate Yor during a brief flashback of the two getting disguised as SSS officers. In the manga, they whispered this dialogue to each other while disguised right in front of Yor.
Wow.
I know why they changed it.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh my gosh. So it's like, it's of course, Twilight has to be Twilight, and it's like, oh my gosh, the point where they left off with the last episode 8, and Yor, am I saying that right? The brother? Yeah, Yor. Yeah, Yor is so, it's like, oh, prove it, you got to kiss, and then she gets drunk, so, and then he overreacts because he's in love with his sister, which is like, ugh. Yeah, really? But I'm saying it's a culture thing. I don't know why. Go find another woman.
I think it's a culture thing. I think it's just he's too attached.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. I can see from that perspective. But oh my gosh, this is like, it's just over the top, and you're the brother, right? Yuri. Thank you.
Yuri is the brother.
Yuri. Yeah, he's over the top with everything. It's like, I'm gonna see right through you. What's Lloyd? Thank you. Yeah, I'd be like, Lloyd. It'd be like, if you do anything wrong, be like, he's just being this very overprotective, maybe a little too overprotective younger brother. But it's just like, okay, this is funny, and then Lloyd is like, oh yeah, he definitely works with these people, and it's just like, now he's following you around, and it's just the point where Lloyd and his little short friend, Frankie. That's it, Frankie. Frankie corner Yor in the alleyway and pretending to be, Secret Service agents or whatever that is.
State security service.
State security officers. Secret police. But it's just like, oh crap. Be like her alter ego is gonna come out and just gonna kill somebody. But I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good, but they don't go there. It's more she gets like defensive at the very end. I'm like, shouldn't the cat the assassin cat came out of the bag at that point?
You'd have thought,
but no.
They're trying to hold that off.
Yeah, which is very into how they do these stories, is that,
but
obviously
what's weird is like it should have already come out back in episode 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she does kick Lloyd's butt.
She does
in that episode.
But it's like both of our main characters are completely oblivious to each other, and they're more like just be like, It's oh my god, like yours more. It's like I'm trying to be my assassin and trying to keep my cover, and then Lloyd is like it's the mission. So they're completely blind to what's really going on, except for Anya. And obviously,
need to make up and be good and be and I don't remember what she said, but
yeah. But her entire role in that entire episode is sleeping.
Yeah,
and she wakes up, and she can read Lloyd's mind. Obviously, she's just a telepath, and it's just hilarious. It's like, oh my gosh, be like, Uncle so and so like works for the secret police. Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
Well, it's like, secret police? What's that?
What's that?
But it sounds cool. It's like it really isn't.
No, it's not. But oh my, it's brilliantly done, and it's oh my gosh, the brother getting more and more beat up when oh my gosh, you're kicking him like enough kick that he goes into a spiral, slams into the wall, and pedals go everywhere.
And this happens twice. And then he's walking back to his apartment. I'm guessing, and it's like he's like, excuse me, can you guys tell me where the train bus is? It's like, you don't need a bus, you need a hospital.
But it's just like this show is so well written. It has this deep level of spy espionage, deceit, the whole bit, and this nice fat layer of comedy the entire time. You can't take it seriously because
but yet it's still there. It's like the story is still so good.
It's so well done. Like the story is so well executed. It's one of those stories that you're hoping with like most anime that you get this incredible first season and then you get kind of a dud with season 2 possibly. I don't know because this is me watching this for.
It'll be a bit till we get to season 2, and knowing our luck, that Blu-ray won't be out yet.
Probably.
So we'll have to figure out something else there.
Because it takes a while for like
your Crunchyroll on PS4 was a little weird at the beginning. That's why we had to switch to this. But
anyways, great episode, funny as all out, and Anya being Anya, just it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I slept through it. She sleeps through everything. Yeah, I'm like, wow. Either you just had the roughest day in the world, or you just sleep through tornadoes and apparently big fights throughout the entire house.
Oh, when you're sleepy, you're sleepy.
That's true. I sleep through storms all the time. So I can understand that, but I think it's more this very clever storytelling, this very not double storytelling, but it's got this very unique story, which I'm loving so far. And then we get into episode 10.
Mission 10, The Great Dodgeball Plan.
Oh my god.
Directed by Norihito Takahashi and written by Daishiro Tanimura.
Yes.
In this episode, a rumor spreads among the first graders that if they do well in PE, they will be rewarded with Stella Stars. Anya is determined to get one, so she trains with Yor. Thus begins the dodgeball match between Cecil Hall and Wald Hall.
Oh my
This is the beginning of the Stellar Star arc, by the way. There is no new cast members in this, just some background characters. And it is adapted from Short Mission 4 and Chapter 15. The beginning of this episode adapts Short Mission 4 with some altered dialogue and scenes. As in the manga, the short chapter takes place after Eden's midterm exams instead of before the dodgeball game. In addition, the Cecil dorm mother's cameo and Henry writing to his family were cut from the episode. This is the first episode to adapt one of the short missions, but certainly not one of the last. Bill's trump card move, the Super Slider Shot, is renamed in the anime as the Homing Slider Shot.
Homing Slider Shot.
Anime exclusive content. The scene of Damien looking at the photo from episode 6, which itself, as said before, deviates from the manga because it actually includes him, as he wasn't drawn in the original. and Emil and Ewan looking at a yearbook or no. When Emil goes to point at the date of the dodgeball game on the calendar, one of the characters drawn on it closely resembles Danpei Ichigeki, the main character of Tetsuro Kohito's Hono no Toki Yuji Dodgeball Danpai, which the episode also pays tribute to. It's a dodgeball.
Okay.
And a manga, I believe.
Got it.
Or anime. Well, while Henderson reads in his office, the song Concerto for Two Violins in D minor plays in the background on his gramophone. The sequence of Yor training Anya for the game,
so good.
in the manga, Yor's training is only briefly alluded to right before Anya throws the ball at Bill. Some of the dialogue shown at that point in the manga is moved in the anime to right after Anya tells Lloyd and Yor about the dodgeball match. The flashback scene showing Bill's training and his father, who is a character mentioned but not shown in the manga. That's still one of my favorite things when you see Bill's father. And after you've seen what looks like an adult being a first grader.
You're not kidding.
The flashbacks of Damien, Emil, and Ewan preparing and training for the game, as well as all their practice moves that fail to hit Bill. The scene of Emil and Ewan being taken out by Bill is changed and expanded. Lastly, during those flashbacks, we get to see into the imaginations of these three.
Oh yeah, that's
one
funny.
of which is a direct reference to Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, it is.
With Damien appearing to be on Planet Namek, with the tire swing that he was trying to push being replaced by a purple Kai energy blast, perhaps Vegeta's Gallic gun heading towards him. I love this episode.
Oh yeah, you're not kidding.
This is just so much fun.
Yes.
And I especially love how it ends.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We get this great power-up moment from Anya.
Yeah.
She's getting ready to do her stellar star shot or whatever she called it.
Yes.
And she goes to throw it and it bounces a couple times, rolls to Bill, and Bill just throws it, hits her, and it's like, and you're out. The other team wins. I'm like, that's about how I expected this to end.
Yes.
I am on record for calling this the greatest tournament arc in anime because it is technically a tournament.
Yes, it is.
We don't get to see any of the other volleyball matches or dodgeball matches, but it's technically a tournament. And it's just so much fun, especially with Yor's training.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're not kidding.
How many of those trees were destroyed?
Yes. And how freaking strong is this woman? Oh my gosh.
She's very strong. And she broke Yuri's ribs when she was young, when they were younger.
Yes.
But Anya is just so on fire for this, and it just blows up in her face like you have to, like we all expect.
Oh yeah.
I just love how they went all out with this, like they did with episode 5, because they didn't have to go this far.
No,
they could have just been a quick story. And it's like, oh, that was nice, but no, it's like it's treated like the most important event in the show, and so anticlimactically, but in a beautifully anticlimactic way.
Yes,
and I just love that.
Yes, agreed.
What are your thoughts?
I have the exact same thought of it's a very, oh my gosh, they play the tension is ratcheted so high where the characters be like, oh, we're gonna get these stars for this game. Oh yeah, we gotta train so hard, and everybody's so competitive, and the whole enchilada, and you have this first grader who's an adult.
They explain Bill by saying he developed super early. He's a super early bloomer.
Yeah.
And he's like the son of a general.
Yes.
And he's drawn like he's a teenager. Yeah. Or really more like a young adult.
Like
who is participating in this thing almost to the point of it being completely unfair.
Yeah, it's so absurd.
It's so it's so at that point funny. It's absurd. It's like you don't start taking it seriously, and then you get that one scene where we see him talking to his father, and you have that weird juxtaposition because he looks like an adult in comparison to everybody else, and then you see him talking to someone who's half
giant.
A giant. And it's like, this probably not any taller than Lloyd is, but it was just so weird and fun.
Agreed.
Anyway,
yeah, it's like, again, this grand build up of like your training.
Anya,
oh my gosh, it's so great because you see this little pint-sized little girl trying to keep up with this assassin, and she's just faltering every time and working so hard, and you get this like, oh my gosh, we're getting this epic moment. You know it's gonna fail, and it's like she's like reading. What's the boy's name?
Bill.
Be like reading his thoughts and just dodging everything. It's just the heightened tension and how it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you and blah 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 blah. Remember my name, tell my story. So dodgeball, and it's like, so you finally get this final confrontation between Bill and Anya, and Anya's got the ball and she's revving up and she's like, we do exactly what Mama did, and winds up and just bam, hits it in the floor. Boop, 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 boop. Boom, boop, out. It's got this such ironic, but at the same time so incredibly funny that it takes everything's taken so seriously. At the very end, all these kids are convinced, oh, we're gonna get a star for this, and the headmaster is like, what are you, silly? Like,
we
no,
don't do that. Though, considering you did mention you were going to kill her, I think that might be deserving of a lightning bolt.
Yes.
I can't remember what they call it, Tetris bolt or something like that.
Tetris bolt.
It's German for lightning, by the way.
Yes. But oh my, this episode is so well done. It's so funny, so well crafted, and there again, it has this tournament arc feel to it. When it's one episode and it's played so seriously, all the characters, oh my gosh, it's life and death. I will sacrifice myself for you. Be like, you're our last hope, and just pins it beyond belief. It's so great, so funny, and like all these heroic shots of characters. Definitely Anya when she's be like, oh, I'm the last one, and be like, I'm gonna make my daddy proud, and just buries the ball in the ground. It's so good. So good. I'm so thankful you brought this to the table to be reviewed because it's so good. It's so funny.
To mention, episode 10 was like when I saw that back in 2022.
Okay.
I was like, we've got to get this on the show somehow.
Yeah.
This episode is the one that made me want to get this on the show.
Okay. So like Tangled. Like Tangled.
Yeah. It's like, because it does nothing to push the story along, admittedly. But it is just so funny. Now, granted, it is starting up this arc of heading towards maybe a Stella Star. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course.
Right.
But it's Anya's quest to get one.
Yes.
So, yeah. This is one of my favorite episodes. To get right down to it. So, I think that's about it.
Yes.
On this episode. Next week, we are actually finishing up our season, or the first half season of Spy Family.
Yes.
With the next 2 episodes. We are then, because of the chaos of the next couple months, going to take a break with TAS until August, when we do return after the hiatus. Since, Jacob here is getting married.
Ta-da!
Honestly, this was the easiest way we could plan this out. So, the next 2, we'll record the last 2 episodes of the first half of season 1, and then along with our review of Fire Breather, then we will take a week off because I'm going on vacation, and then we've got an interesting episode right after that that we're working on.
Yes.
It's not a review.
Yes.
It's not a short. We're not sure what we're calling this yet.
Yeah.
But it's an idea. It's a discussion.
It was a discussion that I had ever since season 1. and always wanted to do it. And it was like, okay, so we're going to do our own research and come together, and it's okay, where do we compare? Where it's like, wait, where did you find this? And oh, I didn't hear about this. So we'll find out in what, 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks?
On May 17th is when we're recording that episode. Yes. And this is the one episode like between our two holdouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll come back at the end of May for a Cellcast Plus episode on one of your favorite films. And then there's another patron pick on June 7th that has not been taken yet, folks.
So if you want to pitch in, let us know.
And I will say, if you don't pick something, we're gonna punt again. Mm-hmm. That's all we can do. We're giving you the offer, but we've only got 2 spots left for this year. Mm-hmm. So, either way, I think that's going to be it for us. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Jacob, I think you'll know the answer to my next question.
What would that be?
When someone asks if you're a god, what do you say?
Tell them no.
And that is why you lose to Zool. Or Gozer. Sorry, Gozer. Zool's the dog.
Come on. That's so cool.
Yeah. And Bond is not here yet.
Wow.